This
items
conference
on
will
this
now be
agenda.
recorded.
Somebody's. What is that?
I'm all turned on.
Yeah, many of the items on the agenda are sort of housekeeping items that, because of the organizational meeting, the nature and the length of it, certain things just couldn't get done as it would at a regular meeting. So the first order of business is the approval of the minutes from December 12th, 2023. It's written 24, but that's not correct. I assume you handed out minutes from for December before. Were those handed
They've
out?
gotten them both in email and then I stuck them in the box.
So could I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Say aye. Any opposed? Carried. Next order is on the old business. This is the Whiteface Visitors Bureau contract. And we have two guests here, Michelle and Joyce, to answer some questions about this. I'm going to ask first if we could have a motion before we have any discussion.
Make it.
A second?
Second.
Discussion, please.
Do they have a prepared thing or are we?
No, they're here to answer questions as part of this, as part of the
I'm sorry,
discussion.
I misunderstood.
No, that's fine.
Was there any thought about us having a meeting between the board and Bruce before we?
I had communicated to Laura that when I met with MJ and Eileen a week ago, I had sort of related things that Laura and I had discussed about getting Bruce to help put Wilmington up higher on their marketing materials. And I've mentioned this to you too. And that Mary Jane and Eileen had said they'd be happy to sit down and talk with us as Visitors Bureau and with the certain board members who are interested in discussing how they can address making sure Whiteface at Wilmington is placed sort of higher up on the chain of marketing resources.
Okay.
And I know that I haven't followed up with Mary Jane, but if there's an interest in doing something like that, I'd be happy to.
So I think this might show and give a little bit more info as far as the Visitors Bureau. There's a difference between the Whiteface region and the Whiteface Visitors Bureau. We have a contract with Roost for the Whiteface region. We have a contract with the town of Wilmington to market Wilmington, which is completely separate from the Roost contract. They're two completely different things. So I'm not opposed to having a meeting with Roost, but what they do for our office really doesn't have anything to do with what the town of Wilmington does for our office. So this kind of gives you just a little bit of an idea of the different umbrellas of what we do under each category. They all overlap, but maybe this will help explain a little bit more of the Wilmington contract is because we do things above and beyond that have nothing to do with the Whiteface region. It's just Wilmington. We have gone to the town of Jay in the past and asked them if they would like to have a similar contract with us. And therefore, we would be able to do some of those above and beyond things for the town of Jay. They have opted not to. Therefore, they have their own business association that does that stuff. But truly, the contract that we have with the town of Wilmington is completely separate from Roost. I hope that explains itself.
But you wouldn't be adverse if we set up a meeting to talk
I
about
don't. I just
about the
don't. I
web
think it's
presence.
comparing apples to oranges. We've had a contract with the town of Wilmington for 20 plus years. I don't see. I mean, it's yeah.
I've been on the board for 28 years and we've always had this contract with the town of Wilmington.
Right.
And we've never had anyone at all question what we do. And it's kind of, I feel as a board member that people are like shooting us in the foot for what we're trying to do. We, as our own board, are trying to make Wilmington better by having all these events which bring people to Wilmington, and we market our own town. Yes, Roost does help us, but they aren't what we're doing.
Who does the website management?
The website is, again, a regional, it is not a town of Wilmington website.
Right, we don't have our own website as we used to. You
It's-
used to have your own visitors
That
bureau.
was before the county changed everything. That truly has nothing to do with this contract. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Right.
This contract is completely separate from the Roost contract.
Right, but your representation of our town is part of what we're supposed to be addressing here.
With this contract.
Right.
Not with the Roost contract.
Right, but
There's a
in the
difference.
contract, it does say that we could exercise, that we could meet with you guys quarterly.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a representative that's at our board meeting every single month.
But as a board. It's in the-
Anybody can
She
come to
comes
our
to every
board
board meeting too.
Right,
so.
but we could have a meeting quarterly, that's in the
Is there
contract.
something that you feel as though we aren't doing for the town?
I would like to meet with Bruce and you, just to get some clarity on what you have presented here as far as what that we, as a board, can have some input into.
What, is there a reason, and I'm just saying, I feel very insulted
It's-
because not once have you stepped foot in my office and asked me a single question, not once. But yet you want to go to a board. So I'm just
Yeah,
asking
no,
if
just,
there's a
just,
reason.
let me just try to, this is not that, it's Roost or where the questions are. So it isn't that, I was discussing with Roost the idea that Wilmington could have a greater presence at Roost. And to me, that has nothing to do with the Visitors Bureau and the job that you guys are doing with the businesses in the community and the events.
So
that you
we
have.
need to request a meeting with Bruce as a town board, which Michelle is saying has nothing to do with the visitors
Right,
bureau.
right.
No, I
Right.
understand.
That isn't true.
But you do, your website, the website that visitors go to. If somebody were to click on the Whiteface Region Visitors Bureau link from our town website, it will send them to the Roost website for the Whiteface Region.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where we're trying to come together. Like if there could be more representation of Wilmington on that website, it would be better.
But we have to talk to Roost.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But just to give you a little bit of history on that as well, we had that website completely redone within the last year and a half.
Mhm.
During that time, we asked business owners and community members to be a part of the redevelopment of that, along with all of the people from the region, from Jay, Osable, the whole area. We had very little feedback from our business owners, but we did have feedback. And collectively, that is what Roost got back from. I agree that, they're alphabetical, that's how they chose, because as much as we would like to see Wilmington first, Jay would like to see Jay first. And so I think that we need to remember that just because it's what we want, well, there's other communities involved too. So I think that that's something that, again, I just don't see where it has any bearing on this contract.
Because the town of Wilmington doesn't need to be melded with other towns, is the point that I'm saying.
Well, if you can find the funding,
Then
then
what's
we
your
can get our own,
interest
I'm
in
all
getting
for it.
more representation through Roost?
We
Because
only
that's what
started
Roost does.
mixing in 2021. Is that correct or incorrect?
Very incorrect.
We did the town website got changed over in 2021. That's when the Roost.
No,
No.
no, you're very incorrect.
Okay, show me.
It has been a Roost website since before I started. I've been
But it
working
was
here for
the
17
town,
years.
they did the mixture of the four
No,
towns.
Roost
Didn't
Roost
let her finish.
assisted the town of Wilmington by creating a town of Wilmington website in addition to the Visitors Bureau site.
The Whiteface region mixed with Osable, Jay, Upper Jay, and
It's always
Wilmington.
been that way. It has always been that way, but the other regions didn't have as strong of a presence, and they had asked for a stronger presence because the county has us all as one region, and they didn't have a strong enough presence. But their tax dollars is part of their contract, so it's always been that way. It just wasn't as strong of a presence because that's just how the website was. But it's always been that way, I assure you.
So what was all of the press and their releases about all of the studies and the survey that you mentioned and things about that, about mixing the four towns?
it wasn't a study of it. It was moreover because those regions are part of the white-based region, the way that the county breaks it up by different regions. Right,
No,
well, no,
the
it's the county that does it.
Not Roost.
But because we've always represented those communities. But Wilmington has had a stronger presence because, first of all, our town has contributed and we have more businesses that were active in our community. And because of, like I said, the town of Jay didn't give us any money, therefore I felt at liberty that I could promote Wilmington more. If the town of Jay gave me equal amount of money, in all honesty, I'd probably be doing events down there. I'd be holding dinners for them down there. I'd be doing a farmer's market down there. But because Wilmington gives us the money, then I feel as though there's no guilt in putting all of my focus here in town.
I still would think it would be beneficial.
Well,
I'm just one person up here. I'm just one person.
disagreeing. I think that it would be beneficial if Wilmington had a higher presence, but what about the other towns are small enough that they don't, Roost feels as though they shouldn't have their own website because they're like in the shadows, like way in the shadows of Whiteface and like Placid and everything that people wouldn't find them, basically.
But I just don't think Bruce would have any kind of objection prioritizing putting Wilmington somewhere near the top as opposed to following an alphabetical order. I mean, we are, the home of Whiteface Mountain. And if
Which is up for discussion. I just know that during all of the discussions with the website, it was very, very much, the people from Osable had a much stronger presence at the meetings, and they vocalized as strongly as you guys are vocalizing.
Okay, so that ends the discussion. We have a motion to.
No, I have a lot more, there's a lot more to discuss.
I'm gonna,
So, I mean, if you want to table this, which it should be tabled and discussed at
I
a
would like to
regular
vote on
meeting.
it one way or
we're
another.
gonna vote one way or another, and I'm gonna limit the amount of time that we have discussion. Go ahead.
Well, that seems appropriate. Joyce, you said you've been involved for 28 years.
28 years.
Yeah. And at what point did the branding go from Wilmington Chamber of Commerce to the Visitors Bureau?
Just the name just got, I think it was before me.
I think it was when Jeannie was here, it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I mean,
That
I
was
have to
less than
look back
28
in the
years.
archives and look, but I think it was when Gene Baker was the president.
Okay.
And those people are all gone. Every single one of those people don't even exist anymore.
I think it was in the 80s.
Okay. The point I'm,
Had something to do with them getting health insurance.
Well,
I think it was in the,
If I
I
remember
think it
right.
was,
Hold on, just ask the question, answer the question, let's get going.
okay. You agree that it's somewhat unusual for a municipality to subsidize its Chamber of Commerce to the extent that Wilmington subsidizes its Chamber of Commerce?
No, because I've never really looked into anyone else doing it. It's just always been. I mean, the 28 years I've been on this board, Wilmington has always subsidized we're not asking for a lot. We really aren't. When you consider what our Visitors Bureau does for the town of Wilmington. You look at the events that we have that promote what this town is really about, which it's about skiing, biking, fishing, cross-country skiing, you name it, we can do it. We're just branding our town. Roost comes in and says they will help us. Well, I can tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, Roost should help us more, just like you guys think. But it's a losing battle trying to talk to them. Michelle and Chip have been to meetings upon meetings upon meetings with those people, and it goes in one ear and out the other.
I'm less interested than Laura is in the Roost angle. I'm more interested in the amount of town money that is transferred to the Visitors Bureau,
What is that?
which is,
So correction,
well-
it's not town money, it's the occupancy tax money.
That's
as of since I've been on the town board and brought that idea up. Thank you. And it's not only the direct subsidy. It's also the free rent on the building, right? There is no
It's not free
rent.
rent.
Is
We've been
that
over
true? Is that true? Tim, just
In what
ask
sense-
questions, please. Let's keep moving.
In what sense is it not free rent? How much do you expect to pay in rent?
Have we
this
done
year?
any maintenance to that building? Who does the maintenance to that building?
We
That's a good
painted
question.
that
Who does pay
building.
it? Who mows the lawn, Darren?
What
It's part of
lawn?
our lease. The lease agreement, if you read it, it says the town is responsible for plowing and lawn.
So that's what I'm saying.
And
That
just
is
so
yet
that you're
another,
aware,
that is another giveaway from the
Visitors
town
Bureau-
taxpayers.
the Visitors
The
Bureau
town
pays
park
for,
department
Stop.
should-
One at a time. This is a work session. We tend to argue a lot, okay? Just let her talk and then ask a question and move on.
the Visitors Bureau pays for the electric, for all of the lights that are in Heritage Park and the town clock. That's all on our electric bill. And just so that you're aware, we've always had a great working relationship with the town. It's always a give take because we're a partner. We've always considered ourselves as a partner with the town.
Okay, so to get back to the question I actually asked, what do you expect to pay in rent this year?
Pardon me, I'm going to interrupt. She just handed out, and there's a lease. If you ask for a copy of the lease, I'll give you a copy of the lease. Okay, you can read it for yourself. If you don't know the answer to these questions when we're having these kinds of things, when the information is available to you outside of the meeting, maybe you shouldn't be asking it at these meetings. She gave out a thing saying the building upkeep and improvements. You signed the lease as a town board last year. They put in $11,141.25. So they have a balance of $8,858 spread out over the next 4 years. So they're going to make other improvements. They have to show this to us each year, and then it takes down the balance that is owed per the lease.
So the answer to the question is $0 in rent. And the town does pay for the plowing and the,
Whose
We
parking
plow
lot?
that parking lot,
Whose parking lot is that?
the town of Wilmington's.
Okay, there
right,
you go.
and who uses the parking lot?
So
The town of Wilmington.
and the thrift store.
Who primarily uses it?
And the visitors that come to this town.
Yeah.
And the people that fish, and the people that bike, and the people that go to the church, and the people that go to the pizza shop, and
Everybody.
the people that walk. Like,
The library.
So I'm just saying it's not just the 14,000. There's a lot more to the subsidy than 14,000.
Tim, do you want to just shut down the town of Wilmington? Are we like, all right, well, because the town is not getting anything out of it, should we not have tourism in Wilmington? Should we not have people visiting because we're not constantly getting something back? Like, is that the way we're going to run our town?
No, I
We don't
don't.
want to get, if we're not getting something back, then we shouldn't promote it? I mean, I'm serious. Like, this is ridiculous,
No,
Nancy. I'm sorry.
I don't want to shut down the town of Wilmington. I would like to look out for the interest of taxpayers.
I have a question about
Please,
budget.
go ahead.
Budget. The music festival. Why, it's just a simple question. On the sheet that you guys distributed, it's $16,658 of income from the music festival.
That's what we were,
Continue the question.
Okay, right here, Darren. Music
That's
festival.
how much it costs. That's not income.
This is income.
But look at the expenses that go along
I'm
with it.
trying to find the expenses. I can't find it. Could you just show it to me on the
Because
sheet?
It's broken up into different things. It's in entertainment, it's in supplies.
Okay.
It doesn't have its own category listing in that particular thing. Our bookkeeper does things a little differently, so it's hard to show.
I just didn't see it. That's all I wanted to know. Okay? And
Again, if you
it
would
is
come
an
into my
income, Darren.
office and talk to me, I will give you all the information that you would like.
I didn't think that we can discuss these things unless we're in this meeting.
Oh,
Is that
absolutely.
correct
You
or
can
incorrect?
absolutely
No,
talk.
no, I mean, it's so long as there are not three of us in the same room.
Okay,
the
sorry,
same
I'm
time.
new here, okay?
That triggers the open meeting law
Okay,
requirement.
sorry, all right, sorry. All right, number 2, could you explain why the music festival is on the books of the Visitors Bureau, but is a town festival?
It is a partnership, again, a partnership with the town of Wilmington. We have considered it because the town, originally it started, Darren and I collectively, he was on the board.
Like Bowman.
Well, but originally it was Darren and Roy from the town, myself from the Visitors Bureau, and then we had other people from the town that collectively said, let's do this. with the plan to build it up as a community event and have the funds go back into doing projects for the community. That's what our plan was originally. The funds cannot go through the town because the town can't do all the sponsors and, take a big risk, in all honesty. Because if we hire a band for $10,000 and we don't sell $10,000 worth of tickets, that's a big risk for the town. We can't do that with taxpayers' money. Therefore, the Visitors Bureau is the one taking the big risk, having it go through our budget. So if we don't sell those tickets, well, guess what? We're the ones that then have to come up with the money. And that's why it gets funneled through the Visitors Bureau. But it was designed as a partnership between the town and the Visitors Bureau, knowing that the town employees were going to be utilized as it, because an event of that magnitude, I knew it was going to take people setting up tents and helping move things and everything. And when it was first designed, that's what the whole purpose was that it was going to be for the community. Because again, with the contract, I would like to do stuff for our town. It's not all about races and contests and stuff to bring people from the outside. If people want to come from the outside and enjoy it, that's great. But these things are for our townspeople. And just like the town get together and everything, it's to the townspeople. And I don't see why there's always so much, negativity about doing stuff for our own people.
I don't believe I've been negative at all. I just was asking factual questions. And I have a problem the way that the town of Wilmington is marketed on the roof site. That's why I wanted to have the meeting. This is not a personal attack. I said that at the board meeting the other day. I'm sorry you're taking it as that, but I truly feel like we could be put on a higher level. And I think that has been brought up numerous times, but I think we've really fallen down. I really do. I'm sorry. I've lived here my whole life. I feel very passionate about that aspect of it. It is not a personal attack. It is a town of Wilmington trying to be where that we should be when most of their advertisement in their plan is about events that are in Wilmington, activities, dining, recreation, visitors areas. We do have the bulk of it, and to have Ostable J and Upper J at the lead of the list of towns, it really is frustrating, personally as a townsperson, let alone being up here. So that's where I'm coming from. That's it.
And I agree. Trust me.
Okay.
I've done this for 17 years.
Well, maybe
I
if
wish
you had the
come and
board
talk to
behind you, like 5 of us at that meeting, it might get further than Joyce is saying that it's falling on deaf ears.
They
That's all
came
I'm
here
saying.
last year. You weren't at that meeting. Bruce was here. They
Okay.
gave a presentation.
Oh,
We actually beat him up pretty good. We actually called him incompetent at one point. There was some member of the board that did that. And it didn't get us anywhere.
Well, I think maybe you could use that as a
Who called them
negotiating tactic.
incompetent?
I'm
I
not
wasn't
going to
here.
say it, but I think other
You know?
people know.
I will say though that, aside from the information that you guys have had, as far as what our, budget shows and everything, I know that at the last meeting, you had given some numbers. I think you had said 18,000 that we get from them or whatever. I don't know where you had gotten that info from, because that was not the correct numbers.
Well, it was 2021 and then it went up to
Right, it's. 'cause we have
24,000.
23. Yeah, 23 that we get from them, plus the 5,000 some that we get for the events. In addition to that, last year, I negotiated with Bruce and I told him that it's impossible for me to keep doing the events that I do with the money that they give me. At that time, I was told that because of actual on paper money given to me, if they do it for this region, they have to do it for every region, and that whole snowball effect of everything. So they agreed that they would pay for a lot of our marketing material. And so if I did a direct bill to them, they would cover a lot of our costs. So last year, in addition to the actual funds that they gave us, I direct billed them for $10,000 more of additional things that we were able to get, like permanent signages for our events and everything, event parking signs, farmers market signs, all kinds of those different things that Bruce paid for last year that was above and beyond what they normally would give us. So they are willing to work with us in some ways. So I don't want you to think that I'm not going to bat for our town, because I am.
Didn't say you weren't. I just think that we could get maybe have a meeting. That's it.
I 100, can I speak real quick, David?
Please, and I'm gonna
And then we
take
can
a
move
vote.
on. It's
Yeah.
really quick. I think, I totally get what you're saying, Laura, and I don't disagree with you as far as the roofs aspect. I think what Joyce and Michelle are both trying to drive home is all of us as a group agree that roofs could do more for us. But ultimately, that has nothing to do with the $14,000 contract with the town of Wilmington. That's something that we need to negotiate with roofs with, but regardless of whether we negotiate with roofs and they give us more or not, that's independent from the $14,000 contract that we have with them. Because for that $14,000, this is what they do. And it's nothing, and promote our local businesses and a bunch of other stuff. These are just events.
And also, I'm inclined to, whenever, if we have to have a full board, we have to give public notice. They have to come in here. They tend to get a little defensive, perhaps. So it would probably be better if we do it.
Passion.
No, when you're asking them questions, people can get defensive out there. And so I think it would
It
be,
is a passion though, you're right,
I know, I can feel it. I get it.
but I just, you know,
but I'm talking about bringing Roost in front of this
Oh,
board, okay?
okay.
And I'm trying to get them to say yes, requires a certain amount of, we'll just bring them down. I'll arrange a meeting and we'll just meet, and we don't have to do anything as a board. We can report to the board ourselves without forming a quorum or something along those lines. And that way they don't sit there and feel like they're in front of a room of 30 people having to say things like, oh, yes, and overpromising or not doing anything about it. So I just think as a tactical way of dealing with roofs, it's certainly better to do it, not necessarily holding a formal meeting.
Favor, the other thing for me with Roost is, I don't want us to shoot ourselves in the foot by everybody ganging up on Roost and then us ending up with nothing because Roost is being Roost and they can do whatever they want. They're private, their thing is totally different than ours. So then we lose our funding from Roost.
So thank you for the discussion. We are now
So we
going.
have to think about that.
Okay,
So
thank you.
would the Visitors Bureau be willing to take over the music festival? It seems very vague and unclear who's in charge of the music festival.
I don't think that's an issue.
Well, who pays for the insurance on it?
Well, we'll do, what we're dealing with right now is the contract. The town is going to continue to support the Visitors Bureau. The resolution is to have me sign a contract whereby the town of Wilmington pays $14,000 per year in two $7,000 installments. And then we get to review the books. And I think as the year goes on, we can have further discussions about the future of the music festival, how it should be run perhaps, who should run it and things like that. So
One more point.
Yep.
Would the Visitors Bureau be willing to pay for the garbage from the Visitors Bureau? and the events?
Stop.
No, I'm not going to be muzzled.
Yes, you are now. I'll have a vote, please.
Good. That's very respectful to the taxpayers.
Tim Paulus?
I think this should be tabled and
So
discussed
no.
further.
So that's a no.
John?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Favor?
Yes. Moving on, the next thing is a resolution for us to adopt the pro-housing, community housing resolution that we tabled on the meeting on January 9th, 2024. I will make this note that apparently I wasn't there for it, but it's been reported to me that Governor Hochul made a point of congratulating those communities who adopted that resolution, and she identified a few locally because it helps open up housing grants, and it puts a good place forward. So I'm going to ask for a resolution to pass the community housing resolution that was tabled at the meeting on January 9th. Is there a motion or motion made?
You made it. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
No want a roll call?
No,
Good show.
a roll call. Let's do a roll call then.
Tim?
Abstain.
Can I ask a question? Under what grounds? How can you just abstain? It's either a yes or no vote.
No, he can vote present.
And it counts as a no when somebody abstains.
Because I will explain my vote. I'm happy to do that. I have no problem explaining why
Laura?
I'm voting that way.
Are we allowed to broach what we discussed the last time? Because I was told that I couldn't, that Ed mentioned that I wanted the caveat, because Roy had said about the homestead housing that they couldn't be used for short-term rentals, and that would be part of this housing.
No, I think what this resolution does is, it is just part of a sheaf of papers that the town can say that they passed, so that when, and there's an awful lot of discussion at the county level about the types of grants. I'm having a meeting next week with people who are doing the one on this, and it's a lot of, the state doesn't have very much money, but they seem to be putting what they do in the affordable housing. And this is something that the state has urged communities to adopt. It's the language that they gave us. It doesn't change the zoning code. It doesn't change the town of Wilmington's ability to put conditions on how those properties are used when the permission goes through. It's just pure sentiment.
Is it all right if I explain why I
Laura,
choose
you
to
said
vote?
yes. Let me finish the roll call vote. Tina? Favor?
Yes.
Now
Okay.
it's Favor's call.
Yeah, but for 1 minute.
I understand that for the town to pursue grants, it could be helpful for us to adopt this resolution. Therefore, I'm not going to vote against it. However, I don't completely agree with it. Therefore, I'm not going to vote for it.
All right, so the next resolution is, to me, it wasn't that clear. We're not going to renew, we discussed this at January 9th, and I'm not sure whether we tabled it or we didn't, but we're not going to renew the contract. It's resolution to not renew the contract with the STR management company. It expired at the end of December. They've managed to do a little work this month, but they wanted to know whether I'm signing the contract, and so I need a resolution saying we're not signing that contract and authorizing me to tell them that they're not signing the contract.
I'll make that.
Make it.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Sorry.
Laura, you're the one that seconded that.
Okay, I'm moving on to new business. Now, this is where we talk to the department heads a little bit about our allocation of the fund balance from 2023. I'm going to ask you, Darren, to help me out with this part because this is my first go around with what happens at the end of the year is there's certain monies left over in the account. As a town, you have to specifically set up a reserve by resolution, and that we apply the money in that limited way under the reserve, and it's often used for putting it into account towards replacing vehicles in the future. The water department needs to buy certain things, and so it gets reserved. The board needs to make a resolution for that, and that money is therefore specifically limited to those types of purchases and not part of the general fund. So I'm going to ask Darren to help me with this part, please.
What you said is mostly correct. So we have, Nicole estimates it's going to be around $12,000 in general fund and around $10,000 in water. Left in fund balances from unexpended funds from 2023.
Correct.
Now the board has the choice.
I'm sorry, how much?
12,000 in general, and then how much is water?
10.
10,000 water.
The board then has the choice to allocate those funds towards a specific item, or we have the choice to put those funds back in general fund balance. It doesn't have to be allocated to something. It can go back into fund balance
Okay.
and not be earmarked for a certain thing. But at that point, it's the town board's decision, or if we give it to the department heads, if they have a wish list. But ultimately, it's our decision whether we spend that or if that money goes back in to be included as part of the 2024 budget. not really budget, but back into that fund balance that the town has.
So previously, and it's not really ready at this meeting, we need to replace the generator on the community center. And I have two estimates, written estimates so far, roughly about $8,000 for each. And so perhaps I would request that we could specify $8,000 to be allocated towards that, or just put it back in the general fund. And then, at the next meeting, we can just take it out of the general fund in whatever account that improvement would come from. Does anyone have any strong opinions on this? How we should proceed on that?
I'm not sure what our total fund balance is.
Well, we have, apparently, there are community funds. I don't know that number.
If you look at, I don't have them with me right now, but every month Nicole gives us a printout.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of it, it tells what the fund balance in every department is. I think Tina said she may have them.
But we're not going to be able to probably do that math right now. I was just wondering if anyone knew the total fund balance.
It would be approximate, but it would give us a good estimation.
Well, hey, Louis, you got any?
That's another paper.
I don't have any
Not this
balance
one.
this year.
So
These were in the mailbox
you're
today.
okay with?
Yeah,
Or,
I'm
yeah,
good.
Okay.
yesterday.
Usually they take the fund balance and put it back
Right.
into the department that it came from,
Yes,
because like Eddie, if you've been up to Eddie,
This is it.
Yes.
that's pretty, a place that needs repairs, and he needs a new truck every certain amount of years. So normally they'll take that and put that right back in Eddie's.
Right, whatever part it,
Or-
so I did speak a little bit out, Louis is correct.
Yeah.
If it's general, it has to go back in general. If it was water, it has to go back into water.
I like it because the way it's restricted.
all right, why don't you make that resolution? We'll worry about the generator for another meeting. Yep.
I'll make that resolution to take, unexpended funds for 2023 and put them into, how does Nicole have it here, just so, you have it? Into the balance of savings in park and, park general fund and water in the amounts of approximately $12,000 and $10,000.
Yes, whatever the actual
Right.
unexpended funds for those accounts will be returned to those accounts.
The generator here is really important.
I know,
Yeah, 'cause if we have a natural disaster, it's here. This is where we're.
He's just worried until we have the quotes to make that
Yeah.
decision, so.
yeah, hopefully we'll get it done in February.
Okay, so who moved this motion to put the money into the parks and
I
water?
did.
Who second?
Any discussion?
Does that have to go to general and water, not parks and water?
General, I guess.
It's general?
Yeah,
I thought you said parks.
I did, I think I misspoke.
Okay. Thank you for catching that before I made no minutes.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Next is it's a resolution to remove the water account for the Huntington Motel pool. We need to have a board resolution to let Eddie take that water meter off of the Huntingtons. They are no longer using that pool.
So if everybody closes the house, they have to take that out?
Well, my own experience, if you bear with me for a moment, yes, I have like 3 different water accounts, even though one of my buildings is gone. So yes, you have to actually affirmatively ask the town.
Wow.
And it can't be made at the department level. It needs to be done by the town board.
Wow.
So I have a resolution to authorize us to take the pool off the Huntington's water bill account.
Okay.
A second? Any discussion?
I have a more general discussion about water bills. Ed had explained to me that commercial uses, commercial businesses pay higher water fees than residences, but I never understood his explanation.
Can we just finish the resolution and then I'll explain that?
Yeah, why don't we get the
I
vote?
just thought I would bring it up since it's somewhat related to,
Well, we're just trying to get the Huntingtons a break.
yes,
Okay.
I think it would be good. to
All in favor?
Understood.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, go ahead and answer the question if you want.
So these are not exact figures because they have changed a little bit. Basically, our water is billed twice a year. On a homeowner rate, you're billed for, I think it's $85 or $90 right now, twice a year. On a commercial rate, it's basically double of that to start, and then everybody pays per the gallon. So what I'm not sure on is the amount of gallons that everybody gets at that rate. So it may be $30,000 or 30,000 gallons for residential, and it may be $60,000 for commercial for what they're getting, and then everything that they use over that, they're billed for.
And that rate is the same for everyone, whether it's residential or commercial?
I believe, because it's the cost per gallon that it basically costs us to produce the water.
Thank you.
Next item, we have a request from the Wilmington Historical Society for a resolution from the board to authorize their permission, giving their permission to use the roads for its annual whiskey run. And the county has already approved the request of the county. So they would like us to formally resolve to give them permission to use the town roads as part of the whiskey run route. And I think it's pretty much the same as every year. And there's a map here in case anyone's interested in it, but it looks pretty similar to the one I ran years ago. I'm not running them anymore. Thank you. All right, so may I have a motion to accept that resolution?
I'll make it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, next is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a contract with the Elizabethtown Community Hospital whereby Elizabethtown Community Hospital provides drug testing services required by law for a period of 1 year. And they charge, a per visit kind of cost. And the contract was this year. If anyone wants to see it. Can I have a resolution authorizing me to sign that?
Make it. Second.
Any discussion?
Are we still,
How much do they charge?
Okay, who made that seconded it? Because
Make it second.
It's $91 per employee.
Okay.
And then there's $67 for the screening. And then there's a special alcohol testing at $36 per person. It went up, I'm informed. What's that? So any further discussion? All in favor?
are we still paying for marijuana?
Yes.
Any opposed? Carried. Authorizing a resolution authorizing supervisor to pay order the sums of $3,856 and $477 for the Wilmington Youth Commission Ski Program. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
That's, has donations that pay for that. Is that correct or incorrect?
Well, yes, but right now it's in town fund account, so
Okay.
I need a resolution to
Right now.
pay out
I
like
have no
that.
problem paying it.
Does that come out, that's out of the $6,000 then? No, separate, okay.
Okay, so was there a vote? Did we
you want
vote?
a roll call?
No. Did I vote?
I don't know if I'm 100% sure on that, Tim. It might come out of that, but we are largely funded by the CYC, and we get grants from Iron Man and everything every year that kind of offset most of those costs.
But it goes through the towns writes the check, so we need a resolution so I can pay that bill.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. This year I've asked Above Social. Above Social has been providing web management services and those kinds of things, and they've been charging at an hourly rate. I asked them this year to formalize it a little more with the contract. So it runs for 1 year. It's still based on the sort of the per hour rate. When we call them and ask them to do something, they'll bill us at that rate. The contract is terminable at anybody's. It's not, you're not stuck paying a flat fee for the whole year. It's just it can be terminated or modified on the written written signing of each party. So it's a resolution authorizing me to sign a contract with Above Social for web management services running from January 1st to December 31st, 2024. I have a motion, please.
Make-
Second,
A second.
discussion?
Can I see that?
Yeah, I'd like to read this.
Well, guys, I read this on the thing until you can come in and read as much as you
I'm
want.
sorry. I thought it would be in the mailbox. I came yesterday and
No, I leave it on the,
I didn't know where to go. So sorry.
there you
Is
go.
that something that is available to the public, whatever they're looking at? Because I have some questions about that.
Sure.
How much is the hourly rate and how much have they done historically?
$50 per hour.
I don't know the answer to how much we pay them annually.
What kind of web
And what
analytics?
are they gonna do for us?
Rates, all of that. What, do they own the website? Do they just manage it?
No, Roost developed our town website. Roost still has its creative control over large parts
So
of the
what are you
website.
paying people for?
Work. Yeah.
It's I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's a WordPress site. So it's just entering the information into the WordPress backend,
Yeah, and occasionally they will be asked to, so,
right?
for example, I think, am I right, is it,
And move stuff.
so,
But it's a
so
WordPress site,
large
right?
projects get uploaded to our website, do they assist with that?
Right, your planning board agendas.
Yeah.
All the information surrounding those things, the applications you can print offline, things like that.
So they have an estimated annual cost of around $900. I think it could be revamped a little bit visually and
Oh, no,
I think that's.
it's
something that
hard
should
to
be managed
it's hard to
internally
navigate.
and-
well, internally, I'm not gonna be sitting there playing with the website all the time. It's not my specialty,
I understand that.
and I know lots
Not
of,
suggesting anybody hear that, but.
yeah, okay.
And ultimately, it's one of these contracts that's basically just saying, when we use their services, it's $50 an hour. It's not saying that we ever have to use them. If we don't use them, we don't pay them anything. So it's really a no.
I've been in marketing, advertising, digital marketing, analytics for 25 years, and listening to all this Roost and website stuff is
Well, maybe,
making my wheels turn. That's all.
maybe.
I generally agree with you that a lot of the time, a lot of the back-end website management could be done in-house if it's a WordPress site, which I think it is. However, I don't know if currently if we do have that capability with the current.
Or time.
Well, it's really pretty, if you can run a Facebook page, you can run a WordPress site.
I'm not interested.
Perhaps we could meet, you said Roost still does we could broach that with the Roost.
I already talked to them about the town website,
Okay.
what my observations about it were.
So they'll still be giving us invoices
When
about social?
yes, I mean, when we've actually used them for stuff, I don't think we use them very much at all in
No.
January.
Usually about once a week, that's it.
Right. So that adds up at $50 an hour. It's not nothing over the course of the year.
Well,
$900.
we also use it for our, is it okay if I
Sure.
talk? We also use it for the forms for the codes. They get the permits off there.
Yep.
And we're gonna be doing, am I right, the SDRs
Well,
up
I
there?
was just gonna say, are we gonna use it for like some of the STR information that's gonna be uploaded and things like
Yeah.
that, that's gonna be coming now that we're not gonna use the other company for,
Yes, for which they
$11,000.
charge us $11,000.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not particularly, if there's a problem with this going forward, my object was to get it a contract so that we have something in the file. And that, as the year goes on, we'll see how it goes with it.
And ultimately, again, we don't pay them if we don't use them, but if anybody is contracted with many website management companies, $50 an hour is very reasonable.
And it can be canceled at any time, so it's not, we're not locked in for a year.
River, can you make photocopies of that contract and put them in our mailbox?
I'll let you make your photocopies. You can go pick it up where I love these things every week. So, we have a resolution? We have a motion accepting it, Tom? Or-
Yeah, Laura made the resolution, Darren seconded it, I just need a vote.
Okay, all those in favor?
Who runs
Opposed?
the town Facebook page? Who runs the town Facebook page?
Favor and Michelle. Okay, the next is, this is a resolution we
Do we
use,
have policies about that?
pardon me?
Do we have policies about the town Facebook?
Well, funny you should bring up policies, because I would love to have the next work session, discussion with the board, a frank discussion with the board about the amount of policy work that it needs to do this year.
The state has policies that govern the
Well,
Facebook and the
Social media
trainings.
use? and-
Yeah. there's-
Well, the state does, but, you know, Wilmington's, needs an
We don't have-
we need an employee handbook in the worst way, so. So, yeah, the Facebook policies, it's low on my thing. We use a guy named Mike Shear to come in and provide computer IT services, very nice guy. I put down, I did a 75 an hour, I'm not sure that's right. I didn't quite get what his hourly rate is, it may be 60. I'm going to, I like a resolution effectively that we were retaining him to come in and work on our computer things. He's been very nice. He answered, so Ed, water department computer crapped out on him one day, and that's way important because it's connected to the state and we get constant updates on our water quality. And Mike got up there very quickly and fixed it. He lives on Fox Farm Road.
In town?
So I'm gonna just try to normalize and regularize our relationship with him. And I don't know the hourly rate. So, what's that?
The high rate.
Well, you know, I'm an attorney. We charge
Yeah. I know.
$275, $300.
Favor, how come we don't use the county IT?
Primarily because he's so nearby.
We've
You
used
call?
Mike for
Years.
years on our stuff, and he's the one that helped us set up the whole new office when that was done, and the wiring and the computers. He's bailed out Nicole's computers numerous times, and he'll work after hours a lot of times.
I like him.
Okay, if you like him.
He'll come in.
I like
at
lots
night
of
if he
people,
doesn't.
but
That's a good point.
I mean, the county.
All right, so how about this? How about we don't,
The
we,
county, a lot of times, too, they don't have enough personnel themselves to do stuff for us.
Well, and sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they're probably a lot cheaper and
well, I tell you what we could benefit from before we make this decision is we get a cost, how much what his hours and his expenses were for last year.
okay.
And then
Yeah,
you can
because
decide
I mean,
whether it's
I call the
worthwhile.
county and they come right over, they fix everything and I just got a brand new computer from them and
I'm not in favor of that. I would like to continue with Mike. He's done our stuff for years. He's familiar with our systems. He's familiar with our network. He's a local Wilmington resident. I don't know why we would be continuing to have discussion and taking work away from our Wilmington residents that's done stuff for us for 25 years and take very good care of the town of Wilmington. I mean, nothing against the county, but sometimes when you start, and I'm going to be very frank here, shitting on your local residents, the next time we need a favor, they're not going to be there.
I'm just asking you why you weren't using the county.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a ridiculous comment, and I think all she's trying to do is look out
She's
for
just asking
the
you why you
taxpayers, if it's 75 an hour and there's a.
All right,
less
listen, we don't need to have these.
I'm not saying it isn't, I'm just, I feel that she brings up a good point.
Well, fair enough. We'll have a subcommittee of this board investigate local, I'm just kidding.
So what do we do tomorrow when we have a problem with the computer?
No, I'm calling him. I mean, that's right. I'm trying to.
So I would like to do that, and again, it's a contract that we can cancel anytime. If we decide to move forward with the county for something, that's fine, but in the meantime, I would like to make the resolution that we continue to engage Mike's services as needed until we find another option or.
That's fine.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You're basing this on what happens with the town of Keene?
I'm going to go with what you're saying, but I'm going to go on the stipulation that I think we ought to at least reach out to the county and see what they would down the road. You as price for things that you're looking at. Because you should also have anyway, you should have other estimates anyway, quotes and stuff on things.
Okay, why don't we, just, for the
So
interim.
that's gonna be my take on that.
I have no problem with reaching out for other things, but in the meantime, we
If
have
your
to have
computer
somebody
breaks,
and he
you
is
guys
familiar with
somebody's
our
gonna have some?
systems.
That's fine, but I think you ought to at least reach out and see from the county also what
I
they
just
know.
don't think the county is gonna be here at 9 o'clock tonight like Mike has before.
Yes, he was here yesterday late afternoon replacing a printer for us. And he does it, out of the way and not, and anybody, he doesn't inconvenience people. And he took it to be recycled, the old junker. So there we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I don't know if there was, I just in a second.
Well, I thought I seconded.
All in favor?
Favor seconded.
Can you
So
ask,
all we need is the vote.
related to this then? I think it would be good to know whether our town website is a WordPress website. If you're in communication
Can we
with them,
just,
you
can
ask them
we
that?
just deal with this motion?
Open it up and look at the bottom of it, it'll tell you what kind of website.
I think that's where I'm getting, yeah.
All right, all those in favor? For Mike Shear, say aye.
Alright,
Aye.
Anybody
Opposed?
against?
Carried. Okay, there's one more resolution. I have been filing paperwork, a resolution from the board appointing town supervisor as the authorized official key grant personnel for the NBRC grant regarding the Homestead Housing Project. So we've applied for a $98,000 grant that's pending to recover the monies that were expended to purchase the property there on Route 86 for the Homestead Housing Project. Because it's federal, they have lots of paperwork, and I've been asked to go sign things in E-Town, during my visits to the county. They've also insisted that we have a resolution that I become the appointed authorized person to deal with that grant. Yes, I have a motion.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so that's the end of the business part. I did put on the discussion for town fee schedule. Tim, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to talk about what you would like to see.
Okay, I actually do have extra copies for members of the public who may be interested. I don't have anything prepared. I didn't necessarily put that in everyone's mailbox with the intention that it be discussed today, but I believe
I assumed it was. You send me an email telling me yes or no, that's fine, I'll put it on. But when you leave it in the box and I'm writing the agenda, I just assumed you wanted it on.
There.
This is something I did a year and a half ago. I haven't checked the other towns since to see if they've updated their fees in the past year and a half. I did calculate what our fees were adopted in 2010 and what they would be today if adjusted for inflation. What those 2010 fees would be. I believe that my impression is that we're all on the same page that our fee schedule is out of date and should be increased, and that's basically all I have to say.
And let me ask a question just for the board. So, I can see these as part of the budget workshop thinking and stuff like that, but is this something that we could handle during the year as well? If we let's say we all agree it's going to be X, it should be moved to X. Can we just do that as a board and come up with that? Because I know Doug has been working on building permits. I'm sorry to call you in like this, but fees for building permits and things like that.
I've looked at what Tim did
Okay.
put together, and I made some notes for it. And
Okay, so I suppose if we continue to, come up with a list that we can agree on as a board, we can just put it on the schedule at a work session, for example, at the end of the month, and just agree on it and move forward. That being our new set of fees.
I think they should be elevated to around the area. I think it would help. You said that we aren't even breaking even, right?
But that's a different thing.
that's a different.
That's the planning board fees,
Oh,
which
excuse
also
me.
should be increased.
That's a different.
Okay, sorry.
So, yeah, that's fine. And so, okay, so why don't we start with, okay, so how do we know that these fees are going to be right for us? Just come up with one big list. And
Basically, we kind of go from this list, take our code sheet now and adjust them to,
Okay.
comparable towns or whatever we choose to do. It's not,
Okay, so
Should take 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh, wow, there you go.
Um,
That's too quick. We need to slow it down, Doug.
Doug, with the planning board fees, since this is a somewhat related topic, and we are not breaking even on the planning board fees with the cost of the planning board, how would we know how much in the red the town is with the planning board fees? Therefore, because that would help us know how much to increase them.
It's not very much in the red, except for the fact that I believe we pay the secretary.
Yes.
That's the biggest drawback that I can see. We need to put a fee schedule for every application.
Mhm.
Not all applications have a fee on them. If we do that, and there are some things that don't have fee structures, like signs and things like that, that we need to address. If we do those things, it'll be fine. You just need to choose those numbers and make it happen.
Okay.
Okay.
What else other than signs doesn't have fees?
Well, a lot of the applications don't have fees. There is well, that's more of a planning, more of a building than a planning. I guess the sign is the one thing that didn't really have a fee.
Mhm.
That was spelled out.
Mhm.
It was tied into the special use fees. But if you have application fees, then that would pretty much cover it.
That would make the numbers equal.
It would make it a lot better. I
Application
I
fee.
haven't done a spreadsheet on exactly what happened. But
When you say application fees, you're talking about applications for building permits?
no, applications for the planning board, for variances, or
Oh, there's no
for
fee for
site
that?
plans. There are some things that do have fees, but others don't.
Okay.
So if we had a fee for everything that was brought to the planning board, then you will start to see a level off.
Okay. Do you know when the things that do have fees, do you know when those fees were adopted?
No.
Does anyone know? Okay, so they should probably go up a little across the board.
So is that a schedule you can make and then propose back to us?
Sure.
That'd be
Then
great.
we can make a, then we can just go from there. and
Just to save us time,
We
Doug,
can sit here and
it
talk
would be
about
great
it, but
if you gave us a
you
recommendation
know
on the
exactly
building
what
permits
we
too.
need.
I already have it.
And then bring it to us, and then we can go from there, because you know what you have. What are additions, what are boundary lines, what are variants, what are signs, what are,
Good to go.
two-story garages and everything else, just bring it in, and then we can go from there, what fees you have.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
So now I get down these are the reports of the supervisor. We have I asked for general, help with volunteers for the committees and the boards, and I thank you for those of you who have responded. I have a list I'm going to hand out to the board of, these are the names of the people who applied. Now, not everyone wrote me and replied. Some people called. Some people stopped me. It's just, we can follow up if they're still interested in things like this. Done. I also have copies of emails, expressing an interest in either of these things. I am reluctant to talk about, the candidates by name and, and talking about them personally at this. So I think the next process would be that we as a board I'm going to try to follow what you guys have done in the past for nominating people for these committees. And we have had enough people that I think we can have a zoning board of appeals, which would be nice. And in which case, the zoning board of appeals would need to modify the local law that was adopted in 2018. I'll do that. And then we can, if we'll have the hearing, I'll just write it up, and we could do it in that way. If we appoint somebody to be the zoning board of appeals, we'll have to modify that local law.
I think there were a few things that went along with that. Maybe we had to register that with the
No, you
Department of State.
No, you
some other
file,
things.
you file, there's a cover sheet that says the local law filing, stuff like that. So what's the next step for that? How should we proceed to review these and have some discussion just quietly as a board?
May I ask, it's 5 per board, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand the 3 alternates on the planning boards because of, attendance and making sure you have a quorum. But if we can get away with 2, I'm okay with that. I guess, I don't know. I'll just get a feel for what I'd like. I certainly think the 2 boards would serve the community a lot well. The planning board could focus on planning issues, and also it gives our town board a larger group of people who can work on the zoning changes and issues and identifications, because they're both competent to deal with zoning code changes and make recommendations. They would be sort of the people that would come to the code enforcement officer and then to the board with, oh, look, this is a problem. So, any suggestions on what our next step is with this list?
Ask them all for formal letters of interest and schedule interviews. Scheduling interviews is fine. Formal letters of interest, I'm not sure I want to, why, I don't need resumes or anything like that. Nobody's going to, very few people are zoning experts. They're just community members who want to commit their time. But, I have to have something in writing. You're right. I've had people just calling me up about it. And I haven't heard from some of these people either. So, in any case.
Question favor.
Yeah.
Do we have to have 5-member boards, or could like the appeals board be a 3-member board?
Ooh, good question. I'll find out.
Just, it may be a way to
No,
help save members for the different boards, because basically the way you have it here, our list is gone.
Right.
It depleted. So.
Yeah.
I don't, what do you mean? Our list is gone.
Because we only have 9 people. If we add 2 extra here and then we only got 7 left, there's nobody left.
There may be others who called me but haven't actually sent me the email that they sent. So that's kind of, it's tentative. But I'll answer the question about a 3-person board for zoning board of appeals.
Because it's not that busy and it is just an appeals board, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, they're adjudicators. Okay.
I would like to get formal letters of interest to learn more about them, and these are things that may not come up in the interview, things that they want us to know about them.
Well, I'll invite them to, but I certainly don't want to exclude people from consideration simply because they wrote 1 sentence versus a formal letter of with the CV or something. I don't want to compare them, but I've got 1 email which is 1 sentence. I'm okay with that. Let's just move forward and have conversations with them. Okay, so I'll send an email out and we'll try to do a sort of work around how best to handle the next steps for that. I had the youth commission down. I'm just going to mention this out loud to Tim. I'd like to set up a meeting with you and the youth commission people to discuss some of the questions that I have about the town's role with the youth commission as well. So if you could help me with that.
Their next meeting is actually Friday at 4.
I would prefer they come see us at the town.
Okay.
So if you could set up a meeting like that, being the liaison. The next thing I want to just hand out is I met with Derek Doty up in Lake Placid about these leaf grants. And, for years, it was sort of the idea that North Elba has all this extra money sloshing around. And people could apply for certain, they're giving out $50,000 if the application meets their criteria. And so I met with him to talk with him about the fact that, if somebody submits a grant proposal from the 1299 zip code, would they entertain it? And he said they would. So I printed out 3 of these leaf enhancement fund things. Anybody
Yes.
have a copy of
Thank you.
those?
With 1?
Yeah, I can make more. Whoever wants a copy.
You can just stick a copy of
So basically, there are two, the first deadline is February 1st, so we're not getting there. But the next one is September 1st. And so I'd like us to perhaps explore, municipalities can ask for a leaf grant for certain things. I don't have any specific, I'm just laying this out, or maybe another ice rink, whatever. But something along those lines that we could apply for.
They're not supposed to be.
They're not saying anything.
Yeah, oops, sorry. In any event, that's the, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention that we can start looking to maybe see if they could help us out with those kinds of grants. And that is the end of the meeting. So I'd like a motion to adjourn this meeting, please. What?
Forgot me.
I
Or
thought
if you want, I'll give you my phone number after the meeting. And if you want to come out to the highway garage, I gave
Barb.
papers of all of our equipment, what we do, each department. I can bring you the water department parts.
Thank
Joyce,
You want to go ride in the truck?
I would love to.
I didn't get that.
You did, it just wasn't snowing that day.
No, I didn't get to go anywhere in the plow truck. I just got to walk
I'm
around.
gonna make a
I'll give
copy.
you my
Yeah.
phone number after. And then the other thing I had was,
If you make a copy, can you?
I have a truck that's gonna be paid for in 2 months. And the routine is, as soon as we have another truck paid for, we start the process of another truck. So I just wanted to make sure you're all on board that, I'm gonna start speccing out another truck to replace our 2012 plow truck. It's a 550. It's seen better days. So as long as you're all on the same page, it's, every year we have a truck payment, so it's usually a 2-year payment, so, we don't raise the taxes, it's in my budget, it happens every year, so as long as you're on board, I'd like to, go ahead and start speccing out a new truck, to hopefully have it before next winter, because, it takes, a year to, get stuff, so I'm hoping by next winter we can have it.
Do you reuse the plow?
No,
No, okay.
no. On the bigger trucks, we do, but the smaller one, it's a 550, it's a green one, a little small one. I bet you it's got 30,000 miles on the plow.
Okay.
We've rebuilt that thing 3 times. So what we would do with that truck is, we would turn it over to the parks department, and they would use that truck, because they have a pickup truck with a dump box in it that is lucky if they're gonna get another year out of it. So we'll turn that over to the parks department, and they can use that for the rest of the term of the truck.
Before we adjourn, favor, just so we're good with open meeting laws and stuff, can we just give the public any chance to make a comment and then we can adjourn?
Sure. Anybody want to make a comment?
Can we at some point get clarity onto who is in charge of the music fest?
Are you, it's the public comment. You can send me an email and I'll be happy
I
to.
think I just stated it, so I don't think I need to send you an email.
I'd say we can make a resolution on that right now. If we would like to turn that over to the Visitors Bureau, then I'd say we make a resolution. If the Visitors Bureau is willing to accept it, we turn it over to them. That way it's out of the town's hands and we don't have to worry about it.
I'm on board with that.
The Visitors Bureau will only be able to do that if we have what was originally agreed upon, that we have full town support of being able to help set up all the tents and do everything that, because again, I'm a one-man show in my office.
The only thing I would say about that, I would hope as a community, being the town of Wilmington, we would support all events in town and continue to provide staff whenever it's needed for any event. And anybody on the board that doesn't agree with that, I would have a real problem with that our own community is not supporting our community events.
Yes, the town employees are not an auxiliary labor force for the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh my God.
All right, meeting's over.
Don't smile at me, Tim. You're not funny.
I'll have whatever expressions I want to. So you're not
Tim.
in control of my expressions.
Don't smile at me. You can smile at
I'll
whoever.
smile at anyone.